Thanks for being here. Whether this is your first year on the board or your 10th, you've stepped into a role that has a huge impact on your community. And today, I want to walk you through how great boards operate, what they focus on, how they make decisions, and how they stay out of the weeds and above the drama. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being prepared. And when you're prepared, we build trust, avoid chaos, and protect the property values we've all invested in. Let's start where great boards always do, with structure. You can't lead with confidence if you don't know what role you're supposed to play. Here's what a strong board looks like. The president facilitates the meetings and keeps the discussions on track. The vice president supports the president and takes on key projects. The treasurer oversees the finances, reviews the financials, and understands long-term funding. The secretary, they maintain the records, minutes, and support transparency. Directors at large, they listen, they ask questions, and they represent owners' perspectives. I once worked with a board where everyone tried to do everything. The treasurer was cutting checks, the president was getting roofing quotes, the secretary was enforcing rules. It created confusion and burnout. Once they defined roles clearly, things ran smoother and trust among homeowners returned. Structure gives freedom. It frees up the board to lead and your manager to manage. Now let's talk about planning, because structure without strategy, it's just a list. Great boards think beyond the month or the meeting. They ask, where's our community going? What will it need in 3, 5, or even 10 years? Every board should hold a planning session. That's to review the reserve study, map out a 3 and 5 year capital improvement plan, evaluate your insurance and financial risk, and plan communication goals. Here's an example. One townhome association had roads that looked fine until one bad winter. Because they hadn't budgeted for a full replacement, they had to special assess every owner. A neighboring community had the same issue, but had planned ahead and already had 70% of the funds in reserves. Owners noticed the difference. Planning prevents panic, and that is what creates peace of mind. Let's get into something that affects every board: meetings. More meetings don't mean better leadership. Most boards can accomplish everything they need with just 6 meetings a year. You have your annual membership meeting. This is held in the evening for community involvement. You have quarterly board meetings, 4 in total, to review progress and take action. And you have an annual budget meeting to finalize the budget and plan reserves. These are business meetings, and business meetings are best held during business hours. This respects your vendors, legal counsel, and management team who may need to attend. It also ensures decisions are made with support present. Here's a tip for you. Use evening hours for your membership meeting and optional town halls to connect with your owners. Hybrid meetings work. Zoom and hybrid formats make meetings more accessible. They keep discussions on track, allow recordings and documentation. One board we support cut meeting time in half, increased participation, and it improved their transparency just by moving to a hybrid format. Meetings are about moving the community forward. If it's not tied to a decision, it probably doesn't belong on the agenda. Now let's talk about enforcement, one of the most emotionally charged duties of the board. When enforcement is inconsistent, vague, or too aggressive, it creates resentment. But when it's clear, fair, and focused, it protects property values and trust. Enforcement isn't about catching people. It's about preserving standards and protecting everyone's investment. Here's a better model. For non-habitual violations, like one-time trash can or parking issues, send a general community notice. Let all owners know the rules are being reviewed and gently encourage compliance. Give time for owners to self-correct. If someone continues to violate the same issue, then it becomes habitual, and you apply the standard enforcement process at that point. This approach is proactive, educational, and it's fair. Here's a story on enforcement. One board used to issue immediate fines. It created hostility. Then they switched to general notices, followed by targeted enforcement only when needed. They saw 60% fewer violations and homeowner complaints drop to almost nothing. Consistency is your protection. Apply rules fairly, document everything, and rely on your governing documents and manager to guide the process. Here is something many boards experience: decision paralysis. You've discussed the topic, you've reviewed the quotes, you've held multiple meetings, and still nothing gets decided. Why does this happen? Fear of owner backlash? Fear of making the wrong decision? Lack of clarity or too much information? Here's a real story. A board I knew delayed approving roof replacements for 14 months. While waiting for one more bid, 2 storms caused leaks and interior damage. Total cost tripled. Waiting was more expensive than deciding. Indecision is still a decision, and it usually costs more. So how do you avoid getting stuck? Use a structured decision-making model. Define the issue clearly. What are we solving for? Gather expert input. Ask your manager, vendors, reserve analysis, and attorney if needed. Weigh your options, cost, risk, and timelines. Vote. Majority rules. Don't seek perfection, seek progress. Document your decision, why it was made, what the facts were. Then communicate it well. Let the community know the what and the why. Here's an example. One board raised dues 10% after years of underfunding reserves. They presented the reserve study, held a town hall, and laid out the options. Homeowners backed them because the decision was well explained, not just announced. Boards that decide confidently build community trust. Let's be real. Not every homeowner will speak up, and that's okay. In fact, the majority of your community, the people who pay on time, follow the rules, never attend meetings, want you to lead. The loudest voices are not always the majority. You'll hear from critics, but know that the quiet majority wants fairness, consistency, and a board they can trust. A board we worked with was very hesitant to pass a needed budget increase after receiving a dozen angry emails, but they had 300 homes. After they passed the budget and communicated clearly, over 50 owners thanked them for doing the right thing. You are elected to lead. Don't let fear stop you. And here's the best news. You don't have to do this alone. You have an entourage of professionals ready to support you. RowCal Community Manager, your day-to-day guide and quarterback. RowCal Care Team handles owner's request and everyday follow-up. Legal counsel protects your decisions and ensures compliance. Reserve study engineers bring the data you need for major projects. Insurance advisors keep your risk managed. Contractors and vendors execute your vision. So here's another example. A board was split on a retaining wall project. Their manager brought in an engineer, 2 vendors, and reviewed insurance. With clear data and options, they voted unanimously and avoided a $40,000 mistake. Leaning on your team doesn't mean giving up control. It means getting the right support to make the best decision for your community. Let's bring this all together. Great boards, they know their roles. Follow a clear plan, meet with purpose and efficiency, enforce fairly and consistently, make informed, timely decisions, and they communicate with owners. They also lean on their professional team. And they can do all of that with just 6 focused meetings a year. You don't need to give your life to the board, but the time you do give can change your community for the better. Thank you for stepping up to lead. Your neighbors are counting on you, and RowCal is here to help you every step of the way. Let's build something great together. So thank you for listening. Have a wonderful day.